Hello, folks. Have you ever been to the range and you were carrying your favorite firearm, whether it's 9 millimeter or 45, and next thing you know, you don't have a secondary firearm to match it in caliber, so you're carrying two different types of ammo, and you just want to simplify things? Well, this is my Glock 41 and it's a 45 ACP, but I wanted something to carry with it that I could use the same caliber. So I picked up this little puppy here, and it is a CMMG Banshee 300 series MK and 45 ACP. And both of these firearms are unloaded, and I will show you that in a moment when I start breaking them down. And the thing about the Banshee here, let me give you some specs on it real quick. I'm not going to go through too many specs because it is too much to go through. Like I said, it's in 45 ACP. It has a 5-inch barrel, and if you notice here, the barrel here is threaded. Uh, right here, you can use suppressors or uh, compensators. More on that in a moment. But it is also in 4 pounds 9 ounces in weight, which is a pretty decent weight for this firearm. It does have a uh, collapsible arm brace here. Like this is considered a pistol, but closed it is 19.2 inches. And the ammo, I did mention that it does take 45 ACP. It also takes another ammo type. It's called a 450 SMC. It's supposed to be some type of hot defense load. I'm not really familiar with that, but I saw videos where Such used that particular ammo in this firearm, and he did very well with it. As you see, I do have a Vortex crossfire on top of here, and of course you see the Olight light. I'm starting to get into putting lights onto my firearms, and as well you see here there's an ambi safety selector here. It's on both sides. You notice very by looking at it very closely, it is patterned after an AR-15. Here is your magazine release. It is not ambidextrous like on some of the other firearms, such as, let's say, a CZ Scorpion or maybe the SIG MPXs. And I'm going to show you some other things about this. There are some it is a very, very good shooter, but I'm going to get into some things more about this. For starters, it does take Glock magazines. This is my Glock 41 and 45 ACP. And you can get also excuse me, in the Glock 21, you can get these magazines as well because the 41 and the 21 have 13 round capacities. And the Banshee comes with one 13 round magazine. Now, there is a little difference if you notice on the Banshee. This is in conjunction with Glock. Uh, you can see that they do both have the metal piece here, which was an upgrade on some of their magazines a while back. So this is probably a third gen magazine. Also, also when I got the Banshee, I got this magazine. This was in conjunction with Glock with Chris Vector. As you see on the back here, it says Chris Vector on the back, and that's somewhere on the bottom. I'm trying to look through the camera, but this was at the store, and it was recommended by my salesperson to pick up one of these. These are 26 round magazines, and people refer to them as the fun stick. And I'm glad that I took his advice to pick up this magazine because I had an old aftermarket magazine. This is from RTS. This, I believe, RDS. I believe this is a and this is a 26 round magazine. It is basically a Korean-made magazine, a cheap aftermarket magazine that I got from a gun show. And I'm just going to show you here. Like I said, all these firearms have been safety checked prior. If you notice, let me get the right magazine out here. All right. If you notice, it does fit in. It does work. And there's usually no issues with it. The problem is when you try to eject it, it sticks a little. So it doesn't fall free like if you're using it in here and it'll fall free. So it doesn't really work as well as a standard Glock magazine. Now with the Chris Vector magazine, you put this in, it falls through with no problem. I'm at a bad camera angle, so you can't see the drop. Now the problem was when I put this magazine in the Banshee, and I'm not going to insert this all the way because I'm going to tell you what happened. Get on a better angle for you. When I put this magazine, this is like I said, the aftermarket, the RDS. I hit the magazine release and it didn't drop and it was stuck. So I had to really pull, and I think I got it stuck again. All right, I had to really pull to get this magazine out, and that was a pain in the neck. It's not good if you're doing really quick tactical drills, especially if you need that in an emergency. Now this is the Chris Vector one. The Chris Vector one fits in perfectly. Sorry folks, I'm doing this with one hand. I'm going to pause this. Okay, that magazine is in now, and if you notice when I drop the magazine, it falls through very easily. And that's why I said if you're going to get aftermarket magazines for any firearm, make sure that you only get one, just to be on the safe side, to make sure that these magazines work flawlessly like they're supposed to. Okay, let me get into some other specifics. What makes this firearm very popular is its radial delay blowback. Now, usually on a regular AR-15, we all know that it's usually with a gas key, and it once the round fires, it goes through a gas tube and it goes through. Now, with this works a little bit different, and I'm going to break this down so you can see this. Okay, I broke this down to save a little bit of time. So this is your bolt carrier, the radio delayed blowback. What happens is a lot of times when you are using a let's say a pistol caliber carbine and it's in the AR platform type, usually when you fire it, it goes back so fast that it's not able to strip around from the magazine, causing a malfunction. And those are the issues that you don't want to have happen because it goes by with such speed. With the radio delay blowback is that there's a spring tension in here. So when you have that spring tension, it gives a little bit of a delay as the gas pressures are coming back, and then it springs. And as you sit, if you could tell, if I can focus this, if you could tell, it kind of like turns as the spring tension goes back. So that's what happens, and then it allows the bolt to go back and then come back forward to with the bolt carrier to make a round go through to for chambering. Also, if you notice that the gas key, this gas key right here, there's not a hole for the gas key in this portion here. It is solid right here. So it's acting like a blowback system, similar to the CZ Scorpion. But this is in the style of a AR platform. Now, one of the other unique things about this, like I mentioned earlier, you could put a suppressor on this particular firearm. Now, the thing about it is, if you are having problems with, let's say, with the with the firearm not cycling properly, there's a section in the back here, this little round oval section. They, if you contact CMMG, they give you 3 weights. They're like 3 weights. You just pop in, you just drop it in. That fits in here, and it will enable you to determine what weight is proper for this bolt, because this bolt is considered through other bolts might be, it needs a different type of weight system to be able to work with the suppressor. It's similar to like some firearms, for example, the FN 509 tactical. They come in with two different springs. Think of it that way. This has different weight systems that you can put in so that the suppressor can function properly. And those weights also will work on different type of ammo. I only use 230 grain ammo. Some people may put in 230 grain, and this is supposed to aid with that. So just to reiterate, this is not a uh, gas impingement uh, type firearm like on an AR-15. And just to give you a little bit of a shot of where the suppressor works, the suppressor. This is the what you would call the area where you could just screw the thread protector off, and you just put your can or whatever type of suppressor you want to use, and you can do a lot of different adapting with it. Like I said, you can use a what they call a compensator on this particular one. The suppressor, well, let me correct myself. The threat protector is, if you want to get the measurement, it is 0.578 by 28, and that's for this particular size. I've seen people do other modifications where they take this off and they'll put, let's say, a muzzle brake on it and put their suppressor on that way. But this is a really good way to do this. A lot of people complain about the copperhead not having a way to put a suppressor on, but with the copperhead, it's a different procedure of doing that. This is probably the easier way to add a suppressor. And like I said, one of the other features that I really like about this is look at this charging handle. This charging handle is really, really nice charging handle. It's a specially made one from CMMG. Let me try to pull that out. I'm going to try to pull this out so you can see it very well. And there it is. They label their items very well, and it's a very good charging handle. I wish this was on my Daniel Defense AR. I wish it was, but because I have the standard mil spec charging handle. And speaking of mil spec items, I want to talk about this trigger. This trigger here is a single stage trigger. It's a single stage trigger, but it's not that bad. I mean, a lot of people were usually change these out, and I saw a guy that had this trigger modified, and even I believe it was Tactical Toolbox. He modified the trigger. He said, but he really said it's really not necessary, and he said the comp is really not necessary because you're not really getting that much of crazy amounts of recoil. But this trigger is very good and it shoots very well. The one problem I would say, if I want to make a negative or want to be a little bit nitpicky, would be on this. This is your hand stop in the front. And with this hand stop, I think it's a little bit too small. I mean, even the Copperhead has a bigger hand stop here for your firearm. I think with the Copperhead, and it comes down a little bit in a curve, so it's really positive. Also on the CZ Scorpion, it has definitely a hand stop with a curve, and it's also adjustable. Uh, Even though there is not a lot of space on this particular firearm, it's not bad at all. But like I said, The hand stop needs, I think, needs to be a little more pronounced. There are aftermarket manufacturers that do put a add-on hand stop that you can add on here, so you won't have that worry. I don't have a problem with it at all. I won't be adding any pieces, but for some people it may be a bit of for a bit concern. Okay, now one of the bigger questions you want to know is how does it shoot? This firearm shoots very, very well. So let me just throw my targets up here and get that out of the way real quick. And these were my first shots. I said the heck with it. Let me throw this at 10 yards just to sight it in. And these were my first 3 shots. Here, here, and here, 10 yards. And I did some adjustments on the Vortex crossfire and got one over here and was doing some shooting here and over here. In my opinion, I was shooting a little bit too far left, but I did make some other adjustments. The second target is going to be a little bit where I want to hit. I just got to, get my targeting straight, and I think I was pulling a little bit. So to me, this was dead on. This is roughly 10 to 15 yards. And I tried to shoot as fast as I could, but I didn't, not too fast, because I was really getting acclimated with the firearm, and I didn't want it to go all peppered all over the place. I kind of like to do this precision shooting thing, or what I call precision shooting. And here's my last target. This is about 15 yards. And again, I was trying to shoot a little faster because I got a little cocky, and there you go. It's out on this side, out here, and a little bit up in this area. But this is a really good shooter. I'm very impressed with it. I'm really impressed with it. The fact that it takes Glock magazines it's a real plus, a very big plus. All in all, I just want to mention that this color is called burnt bronze. There are 12 other Cerakote colors that you can get this firearm in. And if you look real close, you can see it looks like it's glistening a little bit. So right there, it's got kind of like a reflective type of paint on here, like on some of your motorcycles and cars and trucks, that type of thing. But I really like this firearm. It's a contender with, let's say, the MPXs and your Scorpions out there, and I'm greatly impressed with it. I'm glad because I'm a 45 caliber nut, and I wanted something that would, when I go to the range, whether even if it's not my Glock 41, it could be like my 1911s. At least I don't have to pick up other types of ammo to when I go and carry this load of ammo, that load of ammo. So this keeps everything simplified for me. Other than that, that's all I have, folks, and I'm really happy with this. I think the only other negative that might be on this, which I think has kind of like killed some of the Copperhead's Thunder, is the price. It's roughly about the same price as the Copper here, but you're getting the same quality, really good quality. And with that, folks, that's all I have to say. Happy shooting. Stay safe. #2A.